there's definitely something going on with the bike.
Crazy, 20 wheel drop, 26 wheel gain. That's gonna make for a crazy ride.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Proven Power Cycles. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric, and today we have a 2018 GSX-R1000R in. Now, we've done quite a few of these videos on these, and we've touched a lot on these bikes. We do a lot of these bikes, all right? Today, though, we're going to install the full Yoshimura, the AT2 system. It's a stainless system, but they have like a titanium coating, you say, on it. It's an odd coating. Later in the video we'll show you the exhaust and we'll show you the finish and everything, but it's really pretty. It's kind of different. It's different than any of the other coatings that I've seen on most of these other bikes that come from the exhaust company, so very interesting. The other thing we're also going to do, we're going to do a chain and sprocket kit. We're going to do a 520 conversion on this, and we're not going to change the teeth on the sprocket. We're going to leave that factory. The primary thing that we're going to do is just a upgraded chain. So it's a QX ring, I believe it is, the EK3D chain, and then it's also going to be a 520, and so it's a little bit thinner, a little bit smaller, and a little bit lighter. So that rotational mass on the bike is going to be lighter. So in theory, along with the O-rings, now that they're these QX rings, it's less friction. So between lighter and less friction, we pick up a little bit of power to the motor because it doesn't have to try as hard. There's not as much resistance in the drivetrain. So as we're looking at the chain here, this is a 525 from the factory, a 525. And as you're looking at it, these have just the standard O-ring. So there's nothing special. It's just a regular O-ring in there. In each one of these links, it's a regular O-ring. So you can see these are basically like standard O-ring style O-rings. And then, like I said, what we do is, or what we're going to do is just convert to something a little bit lighter and something a little bit smaller overall. So currently he's running the Yoshimura Alpha slip-on. Now these came as like a free upgrade around this era, around 2018. They were pushing sales, so they offered the slip-on with the bike. It sounds pretty good, nice and deep, long muffler, a lot of fiberglass, a lot of packing, so it's gonna have like a deeper sound to it, but stock header still with the catalytic converter in there. So all of this stuff is gonna go, and then we're gonna run the AT2 system, which I love that system. I think the muffler looks really sharp. I think Yoshimura crushed it. It's a good system, not super expensive compared to some of the other guys, and still produces really good results. So let's get the bike warmed up and do some runs on it. So we got the 2018 on the lip, and we just got done doing some dyno runs, and in fact I'm gonna go over there and show you guys the graph. Really interesting. There's definitely something going on with the bike. This customer has been fighting an ongoing problem with the bike, so we're not really sure yet as to what it can be, but I have some ideas. But regardless, we're going through the process now. The guys are they pulled the fairings off here, and they are starting to get the header off and the muffler. We're gonna start working on all that, getting it off. But let's come over here to the dyno so I can show you what we're talking about. So we only baselined at 141. Now we did a couple of other pulls, and we had identical base. It was literally identical. But I didn't want to keep beating on it because, again, there's definitely something wrong. This is not what we typically see. And if you look down here, we have a huge rich point right here around 92, let's see, 9160, 9150. All right, so about 9100 RPM, we're at 11.2. That's stupid rich. It's dumping fuel into the system, and then it goes absolutely just insanely lean. And then we kind of come back a little bit here, and then it goes lean again. So, and it's odd. So look, the power band looks normal. It looks completely normal all the way up to about here, which is around the 10.5 mark. This is typically where the throttle blades shut down in the ECU. They are shutting down in here. And if you notice, we have a huge power loss. So we go from 136 to 116. So we lose basically 20 wheel horsepower, and then it gains almost immediately. It picks back up to 141. So we're back up another
what, 26 wheel. So crazy 20 wheel drop, 26 wheel gain. That's gonna make for a crazy ride, and that's what the customer was really complaining about. So we're not 100% sure what this is. One of my guesses is that it's gonna be the catalytic converter. These are typical. We see these every now and then get clogged up on these bikes. Really a lot of the new OEM bikes we've been seeing over time that the cats get clogged up or they start to melt and they cause a lot of issues. So that's going to be one of my guesses. The other guess, you might have a fueling issue like a fuel pump problem or an upper injector or something like that. That's another thing that we see with most bikes is they're having fueling problems. So that's going to be like one of the two things that I'm assuming. It also could be something in the ECU. I don't think it is, because it sounds like the ECU is stock from what the customer is telling us. So we'll know here in a little bit though, once we get this new exhaust on. What we always do is we always re-baseline the bikes. So if it's a catalytic converter issue and it's clogged up, we will know, because once we put this new exhaust on, there's no cat. So getting rid of the cat, if this curve, all of a sudden if that curve pulls up and it looks basically back to OEM, you know, obviously with a full exhaust now, but a stock ECU, then we'll know, all right, it was a clogged cat, right? Makes sense? There we go. So, and if it's a fueling issue, obviously the problem's gonna persist because we didn't touch the fueling system yet. So, you know, again, we're gonna see once we get it on the dyno and once we flash it and all that jazz, and once we re-baseline it, it'll tell us. We'll give you guys an update here in just a second, and we'll go from there. So really excited. I really like these Yoshi systems. They're really cool. They look good, they sound good. So really excited to get this one done. So we're gonna go ahead and open the Yoshimura box real quick. Ooh, like Christmas.
Like Christmas.
Like Christmas. So this is gonna go up to the muffler, and as you can see, we actually have like an expansion chamber more or less. It's kind of hard to see it in the video, but it's got an expansion chamber. I'm guessing it's like 2 1/4. Yeah, I would say probably 2 to 2 1/4 or so. Just rough guesses. But I do know a lot of these guys, they run off of more millimeters than actual inches like we do here in the US. So here is the AT2. This pipe, I love this pipe. I love the new cut that they do on these, how it's all the muffler tips and everything. I think it's so sharp. Even the actual metal itself, they actually, these are like flat pieces. Look, it's weird, but it forms that circle. I wonder how they do it. It's got to be the machine. Yeah, it's got to be a machine that they have it on. But it's pretty cool looking. But yeah, anyway, I love the muffler. The muffler looks super cool. Guys, got the stock header and the slip-on. We got all that off. We're working on getting the gaskets out. We're gonna swap the gaskets, the brand new exhaust gaskets. Yeah, here goes all of our primaries. These are all of our primaries in here, and then this is going to be the collector here. So we have looks like a nice, okay, so what this style is a 4 2 to 1. So you have 4 exhaust pipes, and then they go 2 and 2. So as they do 2 and 2, then they collect down here into a 1. So it's a 4, so you got 4 primaries into 2 here into 1. So typically that's better for a mid-range style power band. When you have a 4 to 1 header, which I believe Brock's is like that, that's usually a better indication of more top-end power. But this particular customer, he's more of a street rider, a light-to-light, just a casual. He enjoys fun rides, basically. You know, long rides along the beach, things like that. He would benefit greatly from a 4 2 to 1 style design. So this should work out perfect for him. It's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like spray paint, it looks like, but honestly, when we run the bikes, it comes out so clean. This turns like to a nice clean gold color. Pretty cool, honestly. It's pretty cool. Whatever that coating is, it's pretty cool. It's different. Next update, it'll be on the bike in 2 seconds.
Your 2-second time frame is our 30-minute time frame, so appreciate it.
Yeah. I saw these guys do a full exhaust in 5 minutes, bro.
It was so amazing.
Why can't you do it in 5 minutes? The other thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take this off, we're gonna start cutting this off, and we're gonna start working on swapping these chain and sprockets out. So we should have it ready for the dyno in like 5 minutes. We got the full Yoshimura AT2 system, all right? We did the chain and sprocket kit, and now this is an EK3D chain with super light sprockets. Now, Every time you get a brand new chain, they come heavily greased up, and it's really white. So what's gonna happen near the end of this dyno session, it's gonna sling this crap everywhere. So what we always do is we always go back through and then we clean off all the excess grease that you don't really need, that they just pack in there with a new chain. We clean off all that excess grease, wipe this all down so it's nice and clean, so you have a brand new clean setup. The Yoshimura AT2 system, it looks killer. Super excited about it. We like installing these in the M4 systems primarily. Those are our favorites, but the exhaust, it looks really good. We've already started it a couple of times, just get a couple of little heat soaks in it and just check everything. So anyway, let's crank this bad boy up, get it warmed up so we can do some new baseline pulls. Now, you're going to throw a check engine light if you remove your stock O2 sensor and your exhaust servo. This is where the exhaust servo, the mechanism is located as far as the actual motor for it. It's bolted down into here. It actually comes up, but it's here, the bolt holes right here. I don't know if you guys can see them too well. Yeah, there you go. And it bolts in there and it basically holds that little motor. So if any of you guys were wondering what the hell that thing is and why you have zero trunk space, that's the servo motor. So when you pull that out after you do the full exhaust system, after you pull that all out, you'll have a little bit of room. You know, you can put a little wallet in there, you know, maybe your registration wallet, you know, at least you get something in here versus absolutely nothing with the OEM setup. We're gonna wipe this all down. We're gonna clean this all up. This bike's a little dirty, so we're gonna clean this all up for the guy. Like I said, you're gonna have the check engine from the exhaust servo and the O2 sensor. Those are two things that we delete. When we flash this bike, that check engine light will be gone. There's not gonna be any check engine lights. There's really no downside to flashing the ECU. We hear it a lot, so maybe I'll do a whole video on the pros and cons of flashing and tuning the bikes. So. But anyways, let's get this thing warmed up and get some baseline pulls, new baseline pulls on it. All right. Alright guys, so we just got done re-baselining this Gixxer 1000, okay? Now, there's something still a little funky about this curve, okay? I wanted to show you guys something, and now this is kind of like the analyze. This is like what you get with a tuner, and this doesn't have to be me, but any tuner out there, you know, there's a lot of different variations. Just like there's good doctors, there's bad doctors, there's good tuners, and there's also, you know, not so good tuners. Shitty tuners. So, one thing that I noticed doing these new baselines, if this customer had a clogged catalytic converter, then we would have seen something drastically different than what we are seeing. And this is what I want to show you guys, okay? The blue graph, I will highlight it. The blue graph is the stock baseline that just had the Yoshimura slip-on, okay? We were at 141, which is very low, and about 69 foot-pounds of torque, okay? Now look at this curve. The air fuel's not too bad, all the way up to about 7.5, and then it goes super rich, and then we go insanely lean, almost off the charts, okay? And then it stays lean basically the whole remainder of the upper RPM, all right? Now, here it is with the full exhaust installed. Now again, this is a new baseline. If it was a clogged catalytic converter, we would have seen this graph go up and smooth, topple over like no problem, just like the other ones do, and it should have made around 155, something like that, wheel horsepower. But notice, look at our air fuel now. It goes very lean, back to where it needs to be, very lean, back to where it needs to be, and then a little rich here. That's pretty rich actually. 12.4 is pretty rich. And then it comes back and you get the picture. Now look, now we are off the chart, comes back lean, still lean, and then it goes back off the chart again. Now again, if it was a clogged catalytic converter, this would all be different. What it looks like now is it looks like we're running into a fueling issue. It looks more like a fuel pump problem. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set this bike up, and we have a fuel pressure tester kit that we kind of made along the years of doing this. We kind of made our own kit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hook that kit up,
and then we're gonna run the bike some more and test it on the dyno to see if we have a fuel pressure problem. So if the fuel pump is failing up top, that'll indicate if we have a clog or a fuel pump failure. Typically when we see bikes that come in and we see a lot of dust and dirt in the inside of the bike, like up even underneath the tank, we've already loosened the tank up and everything, we're looking in there, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but even down on the connectors there is a ton of dirt, just basically like sand and dirt molecules. So wherever he lives or rides, it's pretty dirty. The air is pretty dirty that he's driving through. So I see a lot of these things, you know, dirt gets into our system, gets into the air system, gets into our oil, it gets into the motor, it gets everywhere. The dirt gets everywhere. And I usually see fuel pump problems with bikes that have a lot of dirt on them, you know, just a lot of just stuff like this, you know, where you can clearly see there's dirt, there's dust, there's all kinds of stuff on this bike. So anyway, we are going to dive deeper into this thing. We're going to test the fuel pump out real quick and get that set up, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, we finally got that GSX-R1000R done, and man, did it come out pretty good considering the issues that it had coming in. All right, we're gonna go over the numbers now. I wanted to show you guys this, and hopefully you guys can take something away from this. And if you're experiencing similar issues, comment down below, tell us what you think, and tell us about your issue that you're having. Maybe you guys can help each other out and solve some issues for each other, okay? But let's go over these numbers and let's get this thing analyzed, all right? When he originally came in, the bike was making 141 wheel with almost 69 foot-pounds of torque. Now, look at this air fuel. We have a nice clean air fuel, then it goes super rich, and then it starts to go insanely lean up top. And if you look correspondingly, see right around in here, which is around the 11,400 mark, look at the power that just drops off right here. And look what's happening to our air fuel. Our air fuel is getting insanely lean. We're basically starting to get off the chart. Whenever that happens, you get a massive loss in power, especially the higher the RPM, the more noticeable it's going to be and the worse it's going to react, because it's demanding a lot of fuel. So obviously we get the gist. It's falling on its face. Horrible, horrible power band. It's not climbing anymore. It's losing. And that's exactly what the customer was complaining about. Now, in the beginning of the video, we talked about either the hunch was either a bad fuel pump or it could even be a clogged cat. We've seen similar issues with a clogged catalytic converter. So after we got on the brand new Yoshi, I said, hey, let's run it again. Let's see if we have any other issues. Let's see if it was a clogged cat. Well, we ran it again. We definitely picked up a ton of mid-range power just on the exhaust. I mean, we were picking up 14 wheel horsepower. Air fuel, same thing. Lean, got close, lean, got close, and then went off the charts right here. So insane correspondence. See, we have power and then a massive power loss. It picked back up and then it teetered off. So long story short, we attempted to flash it. I said, hey, let me just see what it's gonna do flashed. Well, we put in this map and you see how crazy things got, because it just got so lean. That fuel pump needed so much fuel, it just went haywire. So it was cutting in and out bad, horribly, as you can tell here in that run. So after that, we tested the fuel pump. We realized that our PSI was dropping off at higher RPM. We ended up getting him a new fuel pump assembly. We tried to clean the pump. It didn't end up working out. It basically did the exact same, had the same exact mannerisms. So we ended up getting him a new assembly, and here was the final results here. So came in making 141, got him to 149, 150 wheel, and then after that, after swapping everything out, we ended up around 177 to 178 and 80 foot-pounds of torque. So not too shabby considering how it was running. And we have a nice clean air fuel ratio. Now, we could have pushed the bike a little harder and made more power. We definitely could have. However, this gentleman, he's an older gentleman. He's like, look, man, I'm not racing the bike. I don't really need gobs and gobs of power. I just want a fun street bike. So that's what we targeted. We didn't really push it with the ignition timing and some of the other odds and ends on the bike. We didn't go for a full race send on this one, okay? So just keep that in your mind. We mainly wanted to target his issue that he was having. He's been to another shop. He's trying to diagnose it. They could not get it diagnosed properly. That's when he ended up coming here, and we ended up going through the full thing. And he wanted the exhaust as well, so it's kind of like a bonus to him. Now, if it was the cat, it would have been an ultra bonus, but ended up being a fuel pump. What can you do? Or the fuel pump assembly, well, you know, what can you do? So we ended up getting it resolved for him, and you know, and now he's leaving. He's a happy camper. So I mean, you can't complain with that. I mean, that's a 38 wheel horsepower gain. Not too shabby. Almost 40 wheel gain from a fuel pump and a flashing tune. It's pretty impressive. So, and then like we said, he wasn't looking for all the power in the world. He just wanted it nice and smooth and reliable. So that's what we were targeting. But we hope you guys learned something. We hope you enjoyed this video. It took a lot of time to make this one. It takes a lot of time to make a lot of them. So hope you guys are enjoying our content. Please, if you could, just take 5 seconds. Could you like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, show some interaction. Again, guys, the more of you that gets involved, the better we can make this in the future for you guys as well. So let us know what you think down below. Thank you as always. Be safe out there. We'll see you on another episode.